y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that.
What's up, everybody? Double O Gaming here with the latest and greatest videos, and today for you guys we are going over 10 reasons why Battlefield 1 is better than Battlefield 5, and I'm not gonna go too far into it. I just want to say this, my channel's about to go on temporary shutdown, only for maybe a month, but at least you have something funny to look at by that. But anyways, the new Battlefield 5 game that came out all the way back in November of 2018 has not really shown up as great as in Battlefield 1. There's many great things about Battlefield 1 prior to Battlefield 5. For instance, let's get into our number one. Number one, we're going to be talking about the gas mask thing. So the gas mask was a use in Battlefield 1 that kind of added something new to it. And even though it's not in Battlefield 5, and I understand why, gas was used, but it wasn't very common in World War II. But I'm not saying to add the gas thing. What I'm saying is that the gas mask kind of had an extra thing, so then it didn't just feel like you shooting at people and that was it. You had an extra thing added to it, which changed the game up a little bit. And it wasn't like something that was overpowered or underpowered. I mean, gas grenades, you threw them, you put on your gas mask, and it kind of trades out certain things. And the fact that you get to live while walking through this gas-like smoke, but at the same time can't aim down your weapon, which means it added tactics to a game. Battlefield 5, there's none of that, and it's actually kind of upsetting. Number two, map design. Map design is one of the biggest important things in any sort of game. If you don't have a good looking map, then you're kind of screwy right there. Alright, so my example that I'm going to do this for, I'm going to compare Amiens to Rotterdam, as they're kind of like the most similar alike. So the reason why these maps are great is for Amiens' sake, there's more outside of it than just the map lineup, okay? What I mean by that is, if you're in the loading screen, you notice how you'll see planes flying above the map, adding a certain type of detail. There's smoke on the side of Amiens and dust or rubble. There's certain capture flag points. Those are scenery points. Those are the most important part of the map. If you don't have that, then you don't have a good map. Battlefield 5 precisely with Rotterdam. It's a lot more bright in that map. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a bright map, but if you don't have any sort of details to go with it, then you're basically just doing something pointless. What I mean by that is there's a destruction part. I believe it's on the E flag, and there's a destruction point, but it doesn't feel like it's destruction. It feels like there's a bunch of plastic around the place, and it's there just as a little playground toy. That's not what you want. That's why I have to say map design is the most important, and Battlefield 1 knocks it out of the park. Number three, there's detailing that is used when playing the game. Now, I already came across with the gas mask as the first one. Another one that was important is bayonet charge. Now, of course, bayonet charges are in both games. Believe it or not, they're in both games. But I have to say, Battlefield 1 had a better way of doing it. Battlefield 1 added sound effects that actually felt like you were running. Battlefield 5 kind of makes it sound like you're constipated, just saying. Plus, there were different kind of things with the bayonets. Bayonets were different on certain weapons compared to others. For instance, with the French DLC, bayonets were more like little spikes that came out. Or in the Russian DLC, they were a little more curved and bent to certain degrees. Battlefield 5, you have the same weapon with the same simple bayonet, meaning no detail. Plus, when you're running, you can only use it in class. You can only use the class Sniper for Battlefield 5. In Battlefield 1, you could use it in all classes, even support. Shocker with that one, actually. That was with the last gun, though. But yeah, that's crazy. The next one I want to get into is content. Battlefield 1 started off with a total of 9 maps. Battlefield 5 started off with 6. On each DLC of Battlefield 1, each one added at least 4 maps. Actually, I'm wrong. At least 4 maps. Battlefield 5 releases 1 back in December. Content is the most important thing that you need in a game. If you don't have content, you don't have a game. With that said, if you're not using that content, bringing it out, bringing something new to the open world of gamers, then all you have is the same game recycled over and over again. There might be some cool features in Battlefield 5, but overall, if you don't have the content out and ready, you don't have the game that you want. And I think that's more important than having a different vehicle in a game on either side. Alright, now, number 4. Biggest thing that we have to worry about when it comes to Battlefield games is, of course, customization. Now, it sounds kind of silly, but customization is like one of the big parts of Battlefield, and even though it doesn't seem like that, notice how in Battlefield 1, depending on what country you were, you had a different skin on it. You had different things for support. Same thing with Battlefield 4 all the way back to Battlefield 3. It's a big customization thing. Battlefield 5 tried something new, and I'm not shaming them for doing something new. I just wish they'd do a little more with it, because their customization is little to nothing, and you also have to grind for this customization stuff, which doesn't even do much for your character or help it out. And the other ones you have to go through loot boxes, as in microtransactions. Alright, the next one. So, isn't it kind of strange how it's World War II, and yet for the last 7 months, we've only been really focusing on the Germans and the British? It's almost like what COD World War II did. It focused only on the Americans and the Germans. It's a huge world war. There's multiple different things going on. Sure, it shows Norway and stuff, but the only customization choices you have are German and British. No French customizations, even on the map Arras, which is about French domination. That is something that upsets me. You have these different maps and different details, but you don't go into the focus of actually fixing those. Sorry, going on for a little bit of a rant. Next up, we have historical accuracy. Now, alright, so not every Battlefield has historical accuracy. It's not really Battlefield's main feature, but something I loved with Battlefield 1 was that every single map had something fit into history, which made you fall in love with the map. It wasn't always just one thing, but God, was it usually feel like that. Battlefield 1 had something with their maps, as in, for instance, Monte Grappa was based off of a real battle with the Italians and the Australians. Or not Australians, Austrians. Alright. Another one is St. Quentin Scar, the British and the Germans. You had, different other cool things that kind of fit in. Everything felt fun. It felt great. It made history fun. Battlefield 5, you play it, and you play it, it turns into an awesome game for about 10 hours. Afterwards, it's the most boring game you've ever played, and you probably log off after about a month of playing it. Really annoying that is the case. Number 8. This goes to Behemoths. Behemoths were an awesome addition to Battlefield 1. They added something that no other Battlefield game had, and it felt like there was a purpose to it. When you could go above and bomb in a Zeppelin, or if you could drive a train and be easily destroyed because, you're on rails, let's be honest. I mean, it really didn't matter. Even the Dreadnots had a feeling of power, and it made it fun. Made there be something else to attack than just people and cars and planes. There was something new, and something that people could all take part in and try to work together to try to conquer. And it was given to people that lost. Now, it didn't always help them win. That was the downside. But at the same time, if you were on that team and you got a Dreadnought in for the first time, you're taking that over. It's the most exciting feeling you'll ever have. And I think that is kind of bumming that they didn't add that for Battlefield 5, because there were a lot of good opportunity moments. And I would name a few. If you guys want a video on that, let me know. But that is upsetting that they didn't add that. Alright, for number 9, we have elite classes. Now this could technically count as Behemoth, but it really doesn't at all. But elite classes were something that isn't just a Battlefield 1 thing, believe it or not. They were scattered around in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. Battlefield 1 just added it in a different way. Battlefield 1 had elite skins that fit the era. You had a flamethrower. You had the tank hunter, which was, I think, one of the newer ones. I mean, there were so many cool things. To go over them all, there was 6 by the end of the game of the ending. But when it first started, there were 4 open, ready for you, ready for anyone, and elite classes just kind of changed the battlefield. Depending on how good you were, not even if you weren't that good, if you picked it up and you started using it, it really taught you to play the game better. It uses more strategy, and sure, people could waste them, but in the end, it really just made the game a lot more fun. Number 10. What do we got here? Game modes, specifically operations. Now, I'm going to be comparing operations with a fun little game known as, can you guys guess it? Yeah. So basically, it's their grand operations, and this is why I hate Battlefield 5s and prefer Battlefield 1s. Battlefield 1 was a detailed game. It's not hard to say that, because it really was. It's not hard to believe that either, because it really was. But the thing that made that game so great was their operations. What they did in the operations. When you start it up, you don't just get into the game, start and fight. You go through details of what you're doing there, why you're fighting, what's happening, what you have to conquer to get to the end. And depending on how good your team was, because you had the span of 3 waves to go out through certain maps, usually 2, there's one that went up to 3 different maps. And each time that you made it, or each time that you failed, there was a fun little thing that it said in there. That's awesome. That's great. The fact that they didn't keep that with Battlefield 5 blows my mind away. The other thing I'm mad about when it comes to their grand operation, even though so here's the thing, they went for a different design, a different style. Nothing against that. I'm upset that it really didn't work the way that it needed to. What they did for their style, though, you go through 4 days. 4 different days, you do different things. But the thing is, if the other team doesn't complete the goal that they're given, that doesn't matter. You still go on to the next day, and it still makes that other team win the game, which is not what it's about. The whole point of operations was to feel like a huge game of rush. You push forwards in trying to complete the goal, and if you made it to the end, it was satisfying. They said something, made you feel better. Some of those quotes that I love were from Conquer Hell Operation, or Devil's, it was the Devil's Ankle, not ankle, something, I can't remember the other part of it, but if you guys want to let me know what that is, please let me know. So, my point is, there was something about it, the detail just felt so much better than usual. Plus, whenever you opened it up, you had you had up to 15 seconds, everyone to get ready what they wanted, and you really had a chance to get a vehicle in the start if you were fast enough. And I feel like whenever I enter a game of Conquest, you could be in the middle of a game of Conquest, and you always don't feel like that. You could be in the middle of operations, and most people don't even pay attention to the fact that there is that, and it's pretty cool. It gives you different sections of the maps. Now, that happened with Breakthrough, one of the game modes you could play for Battlefield 5, but it didn't really give the same feeling. You didn't get that talk through. You just kind of got thrown in there like it was some random game that no one's ever touched before. That's not what Battlefield should be about, and I don't think it ever will, or hopefully it won't ever be like that. But that is my top, that was my top 10. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you're not already. And make sure you comment down what you want to see next. This is Double A Game, signing off temporarily.